We're often taught that kindness is a virtue, that we should prioritize the needs of others over our own, but rarely are we warned that being too kind can actually be dangerous. We live in a world where generosity doesn't always come full circle. Many kind-hearted people give until they're drained, emotionally, financially, and mentally, only to realize they're not getting even a fraction of that care in return. Can being too kind even put your safety or well-being at risk? Yes, and it might surprise you just how much damage it can cause. In today's video, I'll walk you through 8 real dangers of being overly nice, and 4 powerful Stoic strategies you can use to protect your energy and peace. Let's get into number 1, no fluff, just truth. 1. You'll expect too much from people. The Stoics taught us that peace comes from accepting reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. They believed we should never tie our happiness to the actions of others. When you give too much, even if you don't say it aloud, deep down you hope others will return the favor. And when they don't, you're hit with frustration, disappointment, or even burnout. You might think you're being selfless, but let's be honest. If you're giving all your energy, time, or love, and no one shows up for you when it counts, how does that feel? You've trained people to expect you'll always be there for their lives and their problems, even while yours are falling apart. And here's the kicker. If you don't prioritize your own well-being, why would anyone else? But from a Stoic perspective, these people aren't failing you. They're simply doing what you should be doing, looking after themselves. The disappointment isn't in them, it's in your expectations. 2. People will come to expect something from you, always. The Stoics remind us that virtue lies in reasoned action, not simply doing what others want. Giving in moderation, with intention and limits, keeps you in control of your choices and protects your mental health. But if you give endlessly, you create a pattern. People form habits, and they'll start to expect your help as a default, not a gift. You're not just being nice anymore. You're reinforcing their comfort zone. And comfort zones, as we know, are where growth dies. Soon you're not helping, you're enabling. And if you don't value your time and energy, don't expect others to do it for you. Most people won't tell you to take better care of yourself, especially if they benefit from your self-neglect. Don't be surprised if those you constantly help never say, "Hey, you should rest," or "You've done enough." Why would they? You're their personal Robin Hood, giving endlessly at the cost of your own peace. 3. Your goals will be ignored. The Stoics taught that a virtuous life is one guided by reason, that we must set clear boundaries and prioritize our own duties if we want to live in harmony. When you constantly put others first, you risk losing yourself. And over time, that comes at a steep cost. Ask yourself honestly, why are you always so busy? Are you helping others out of love? Or are you trying to avoid something deeper inside yourself? What do you feel when you're alone on a weekend? Or when you come home to silence, day after day? If your endless helpfulness is just a distraction from your own pain, you're only delaying the inevitable. Because eventually you'll have to face yourself, and that moment will hit even harder when you realize you've been ignoring your own needs all along. When you constantly serve others and neglect yourself, resentment builds. You become exhausted, bitter, and emotionally depleted. And the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. So here's a rule. Don't offer anyone a piece of chocolate unless you've had one yourself. Don't help clean someone else's mess before you've tidied your own space and enjoyed a movie with a glass of wine. Self-care is not selfish, it's a foundation. The world comes after you, not before. 4. People will think you're weak and treat you that way. One of the Stoic virtues is strength, not just physical, but mental and moral. Strength is shown by having the courage to say no, the discipline to set limits, and the wisdom to put your values above people-pleasing. If you make yourself too available, people won't necessarily admire you, they'll exploit you. It might feel like you're being helpful, even noble, but without boundaries, others will see you as someone who can be used. They'll offload their responsibilities onto you, not out of trust, but because they know you won't resist. And here's the paradox. The very moment you start saying no, you'll gain something far more valuable than their approval, their respect. When people see you protect your time and values, they'll begin to see you differently, stronger, sharper, and they'll think twice before taking advantage. Stoicism teaches us to give with intention, not compulsion. It urges us to discern, to know who deserves our energy and who simply drains it. Some people may have once called you a great friend. But now they only show up when they need something. Think about it. Do most people invite their coworkers out for a meaningful conversation? Probably not, and the same logic applies here. If they're only around for your usefulness, that's not friendship. So while the situation might be understandable, even predictable, it's not fair. That's why you must learn how to protect your peace and guard your inner world. I'll show you how in the strategies coming up next. 5. You'll attract takers, not givers. When we're thoughtful and patient in who we choose to connect with, we can build meaningful, balanced relationships. But the truth is, we attract people based on the energy we give off. If your energy is low, filled with emotional exhaustion, sadness, or insecurity, you're more likely to draw in people who mirror that, negative, draining, or even harmful. On the other hand, when you're full of joy, purpose, and self-respect, you'll naturally attract others who are kind, driven, and emotionally healthy. Now, when you're constantly giving to everyone around you, your energy gets depleted, your frequency drops, and without realizing it, you start attracting people who are needy, manipulative, or opportunistic. The kind who will take all you have to offer and then walk away without a second thought, or even a thank you. That's the harsh reality. The more you give without boundaries, the more invisible you become to those who only take. 6. You might develop unhealthy addictions. The Stoics believed in self-mastery, in staying calm, clear-headed, and in control. When we give excessively and lose balance, we may begin to seek out ways to fill the emotional void that's left behind. And that's when unhealthy habits start to sneak in. When you're constantly deprived of rest, care, or appreciation, the desire for comfort grows. And if you're not careful, that can lead to addiction. Maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's food, maybe it's gambling, overworking, or escaping into mindless distractions. It often begins quietly. Then one day, someone who cares about you speaks up. They notice that something's off. Maybe you drink too much. Maybe you binge eat or spend recklessly. And when they confront you with concern, your first reaction might be anger or denial. But that's exactly how addiction hides, behind the illusion that nothing's wrong. The Stoics taught us to listen, especially when it's hard. If someone who truly loves you raises a red flag, take it seriously. It might just be the wake-up call you need to break the cycle and reclaim your life. 7. You'll push away the people who care. Always remember, those who genuinely care for you want to see you thrive, not burn out. They may tell you uncomfortable truths not to hurt you, but to lift you up. When someone you trust points out your self-neglect, they're trying to stop you from falling further. They're reminding you to take care of yourself, not just for your sake, but so you can continue to show up for others without losing yourself. Listening to their advice could be the first step toward healing. 8. Your kindness will raise suspicion. The Stoic path teaches us to live with integrity, doing good regardless of how others perceive it. But sadly, the world isn't always kind to kind people. In a society where selfishness is often the norm, genuine kindness can seem suspicious. Instead of being praised or appreciated, your generosity might raise eyebrows. People may start to wonder, what's your angle? Why are you being so nice? And ironically, the more selfless you are, the more others may assume you're hiding something. This doesn't always mean you're surrounded by bad people, just cautious ones. It's human nature to be wary of what we don't understand. And because some people do use kindness to manipulate, many have learned to stay guarded. That's why it's so important to protect your intentions, know your limits, and set boundaries, even when you're doing good. Strategy 1. Pay attention to how you feel. It's a signal. Self-awareness is a cornerstone of Stoicism. It means checking in with yourself often and listening to your emotional signals without judgment. Your feelings are not random, they're messengers. Ask yourself, how does helping others actually make me feel? If it leaves you feeling calm, content, and fulfilled, you're probably in a good place. But if it drains you, leaves you feeling anxious, angry, or used, that's a warning sign. Putting yourself first isn't selfish, it's wise. When you feel light, grounded, and joyful, you're more capable of helping others from a place of strength. So stop ignoring the red flags. If a task you're not required to do makes you feel exhausted or resentful, don't push through it blindly. Reflect. Ask yourself what it's costing your physical and mental health. Then make a new plan, one that includes you in the equation. 2. Don't be afraid to say no. One of the most powerful lessons from the Stoics is that your time and energy are valuable and must be protected. Learning to say no is a form of self-control. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone who respects their limits. Still, many of us fear this word, no, can feel cold, negative, or even hurtful. But if you avoid saying it when someone is asking more than you can give, you risk letting stress, resentment, and even burnout take over your life. Try practicing the word in front of the mirror. Repeat it until it feels less scary. Remind yourself, saying no isn't rejection, it's a path back to your freedom, clarity, and peace. It protects you from being dragged into things that don't serve you or your well-being. 3. Set a time and space for yourself and respect it. In Stoic philosophy, self-respect and discipline go hand in hand. That means carving out time for yourself isn't just nice, it's necessary. Whether it's a morning walk, listening to music while sipping tea, drawing, or working out, whatever lights you up, schedule it. Seriously. Put it on your calendar just like you would any other important commitment. And once it's scheduled, treat it as sacred. If someone asks you for help during that time, remember, your time is valuable. Only say yes if there's someone who genuinely supports you and respects your boundaries. Otherwise, feel free to say no, without guilt. If you don't want to be too blunt, offer a compromise. Help at another time, and only for a short while, because you've got other priorities to tend to. And that's perfectly okay. 4. Spot the energy vampires and step away. Stoic teachings also emphasize wisdom, and wisdom includes knowing who to let into your mental and emotional space. Some people uplift you, others drain you. It's your job to know the difference. Energy vampires are those who constantly complain, always have a crisis, and never seem to grow. Their negativity is relentless, and no matter how much you try to help them, they never change, because deep down they don't want to change. Complaining is their identity. If they solved their problems, they'd have nothing left to talk about, and that thought terrifies them. So save your energy. Trying to help someone who refuses to help themselves only pulls you down with them. Instead, practice Stoic self-control by protecting your peace. Invest your energy in people and situations that truly matter. Final thoughts. In the Stoic view, balance is everything. The golden rule is always the middle path. Even generosity needs moderation. Give too little, and you may come across as selfish. But give too much, and you risk draining yourself emotionally, mentally, financially. So, what's the answer? Lean into the gray area. That's where wisdom lives, in the space between selflessness and self-care. And if you're ever unsure of what to do, just remember this powerful little word, no. It could be the difference between living with purpose and being taken for a ride, maybe even literally, by someone yelling from a car window offering you a lift. We've reached the end of this journey, and I truly hope these insights have helped you see things a little more clearly. If this video made you think, brought you value, or gave you a new perspective, give it a thumbs up so more people can discover the power of Stoic wisdom.